This has everything.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Lackawanna County Pension Board to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our last pension board meeting.
Motion.
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the minutes have been approved. Opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items only.
Unless Pat has something he needs to say.
Seeing that there is no one, we'll move on to new business. This is motion 24-5012, a motion to approve changes to assumptions and methods for valuation of Lackawanna County employees' retirement systems actuarially determined contribution for 2024. May I have a motion to approve? Is there a second? On the question, we have attending by telephone Michael Spadero, who's the principal at Corn Ferry, and he's going to discuss the motion. Michael?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on the phone, Chair. So I can't see anyone's faces, so if I lose you, please speak up. If you have questions, I'm being interrupted. But I'm going to basically go through a brief summary of what the assumptions are that we're looking to change in your valuation, and why we're trying to do it. So overall, we want to look out for the long-term health of the plan. So these three assumption changes that I'm going to get into look to set us up for a better path forward to fully fund the ADC and get the assumptions up to date where we want them to be, particularly around mortality experience. So it's important to keep in mind that the assumptions we use for valuation purposes on the actuarial side is really just to try and smooth out your pension contribution over time more equitably. What is really going on is the benefits are what they are. If people are living longer, if people are getting pay raises, so far and so forth, the benefits are going to be more expensive and the contributions need to be more expensive. So talking about these assumptions, just keep in mind, we're looking at how we are spreading this cost over time and trying to do it in the most efficient way possible. So that's the general goal that we're looking at with changing these assumptions. So to get into the specifics, the three assumptions that we're looking at changing, the first one is revising how we value the member deductions, the accumulated deductions for the members. So currently what we do is we take the lump sum balance amount of what their accumulated deductions are and just use that as the liability. But in practice, what ends up happening is that money is invested in the trust, just like all the other money that the county puts in, and it is assumed to return 7.5%, but you're crediting interest to those accounts at 5.5%. So what we want to do is change that method to account for that 2% gap of gains that you're expected to have based upon the assumption. We use this across most of our Pennsylvania county clients. This is something that is very commonplace, and we think is the best way to value the member deductions. So that is the first assumption change that's caked into the three that we have there that we're voting on. Okay. The second is what's called an amortization restart. So we've had ballooning contribution needs. The ADC has been increasing over time. A lot of that due to contributions that have been coming in below the ADC. Sorry, was there a question? I heard some feedback.
No questions yet.
Okay, sorry. So we want to restart the amortization basis. So currently what's set up is you have layers of old bases. You can think of them as small mortgages that come on every year. The idea being that we want to collapse those and put it into one 30-year restart. So what that's going to do is it's going to bring down your ADC to a bit more of a manageable level and provide some relief. The idea being, hey, if we're taking a reevaluation of this, if we're changing some assumptions, it's a good time to do a restart and get this on a good trajectory going forward. So we would do this 30-year restart, and then in the future, any new gains or losses that come onto the plan would be amortized over 15 years. So these amortization payments are catch-up payments, essentially. So if you're below 100% funded, you're going to have an amortization payment, and that's really what it is. It's the catch-up to try and get you up to 100% funded, the way our actuarial math works out. That's the second change. Both of those provide some relief and bring the ADC down. The third one that we have in mind that we're recommending is a change to the mortality table that we use. So that one's going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's going to have an increase to the ADC and a decrease to the funded ratio. So the concept behind that is people are living longer. We know that to be true, but the assumption that we use in the valuation is a little outdated. It's a table back from 2013. So what we want to do is update that mortality assumption so that going forward, we don't have increased losses that pile on and create higher amortization payments. Again, when we look at these assumptions, it's a discussion about how do we spread this out as evenly as possible over time and try and create stable contributions for you. So bringing the mortality up to speed is the big one that's on our radar from the actuarial side that needs to be addressed. And we think it's a perfect time to address it while we're doing this 30-year amortization restart. Does that all make sense to everyone, or did I go too fast?
Now, could you repeat that?
Thank you, Michael.
Yep.
The only question that I had, well, not question, but comment is that, so we just introduced our 2025 preliminary budget, and I know that you have been in touch with Dave Bolzoni, so we're increasing the pension payment to $7.9 million. So essentially what you're saying here is that our minimum, I say the minimum obligation is now 10 million instead of 15 million?
Yeah, so by changing these assumptions, that this is the 2024 number that we're looking at, it would go from a $15.5 million ADC to a $10.8 million ADC.
Okay.
And again, the idea of we know contributions have been below the ADC before, that you have to catch up in some capacity, but we're kind of looking at this from a joint effort kind of standpoint. What can we do on the actuarial side to provide a little bit of relief, but stay within our actuarial professional standards?
Okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mike? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Okay.
So is it all right if I drop off, or do you need me for additional comments or thoughts? Or
No, I don't think anyone else has any questions, so you're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, everyone, for your time. I appreciate it.
Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Okay, so there was a motion and a second. Anybody else on the question? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion has been approved. Opportunity for the public to address the board? Seeing that there is no one, members other business, does anyone have anything they'd like to add? No? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.